What is up, guys? And welcome back to the Chillin' with Dylan podcast. You're chilling with your host Dylan today, and we have a marvelously fantastic guest on today, Mr. Mark Neeleman. Welcome to the show, Mark.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be on the show.
It's a pleasure to have you here, man. I've been wanting to do a interview with you for a minute now because I always thought you were just a very interesting guy. So when I saw you the other day, I was like, if that fence wasn't there, I would have ran right in front of your golf cart thing, and I just had to have you on. So
well, I'm glad I could be on. I guess you're not going to be around here long, you said, so
hey, yeah,
we can seize the moment.
Gotta squeeze it in while you can.
Seize the day.
So, Mark, I mean, I've talked about the Ponderosa on here plenty of times. Mark is actually part of the family that owns the Ponderosa, so that's also why I'm excited because, I don't know, I love the place, I love the people, I love all of it, so, you know, to have somebody on the inside, it's pretty cool. So yeah, let's, what's your kind of like, you know, background? Where'd you grow up? What's your
I grew up in Sandy, Utah, for the most part until I was 15. But we would spend all of our summers and, you know, Labor Day, Memorial Day. We're here on Labor Day weekend now. So we would spend a lot of time down here in Zion. So most of my youth was in Utah and here. And then when I was 15, I moved to California. And I lived in the Bay Area, went to Los Altos High School and graduated from high school there. And then I went on a mission to Brazil. And then I came back, went to college, and then I went back to Brazil in 2008 to start an airline there with my brother David Neeleman, who started JetBlue here. And he was born in Brazil, and it was kind of a perfect storm for us to start an airline there. And so we started an airline there, and I was 5 years with the airline, and then I left and kind of stayed on as did some work there still, but tried to get into other avenues of business, did a few different other startups, and then ended up working a lot on bamboo there. And my intent there was trying to create kind of a sustainable bamboo industry in the Amazon that would allow for, let's say, sustainable development in an area that needs development because the key factor in causing deforestation is poverty. And so it's people don't have other means to make money, and so therefore somebody can pay them a little bit of money to get them to deforest a big area so that somebody can raise some cattle or something like that. So anyway, so that's kind of what I did. But then when we went up to the northwest corner of the Amazon, it was a very difficult situation up there. And so when it didn't work out, I had to come back to Utah. My second child was about to be born, and my ex-wife now was afraid of getting Zika, which affects the fetus of pregnant women. So we moved back from Brazil at that time, and I spent about half time still going back to Brazil because most of my professional life was there. But then with COVID, had to close down 4 companies in Brazil, and I basically needed some sort of, positive revenue. The airline hadn't done the IPO yet or anything like that, and so I got my real estate license because this Ponderosa, this property, like I said, I grew up coming here, but had kind of put it on the back burner for me until that moment. And so I came down here and started doing real estate here. So if anyone's listening is looking for real estate property,
check this guy's stuff out.
markszionlistings.com. So anyway, so I started doing the real estate here, and so I do all the real estate is in the Zion Ponderosa, and then I also do over at the Little Ponderosa as well, which is a subdivision that all surrounds the park border.
It's beautiful out there too, dude. Like I've gone to some of the landowners' houses out there and helped them do work and stuff, and it's like, primo, dude.
That's awesome. But so anyway, I go back and forth now to Brazil still 3-4 times a year, maybe more depending on the year and situation, but. Today, my main focus there is, again, whenever I can, working on trying to find the right pieces for this bamboo thing to still work out.
So,
go
ahead. Like, is it the bamboo thing? Is that basically like you're helping like grow more like replant trees, or is it like bamboo products and stuff?
So bamboo
too,
products derived from bamboo that's already existing, and then planting bamboo. And I've got a model that I'm trying to put together, but it's just difficult. I keep on paying people to do jobs and they don't do it. But create a crypto coin that is tied into the sequestration of carbon based upon a plantation of bamboo, which is 6 times the carbon sequestration of a tree.
Like I don't know what sequestration means. Like, is that like
It
collecting?
stores the carbon, yeah.
Like collecting the carbon from these bamboo.
Yeah. No, from the atmosphere.
Oh, okay.
From the atmosphere. So it grows, and then, everything that wood and bamboo, anything living is technically like a carbon storage unit, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And so then you harvest the bamboo and you make like 3-ply plywood that you could build uses structural plywood. And then it's kind of like a cutting board. You know, the cutting boards, how they're...
Yeah, I've had a couple bamboo cutting boards.
Picture that, but then like using that to like build with it,
Yeah.
And then you can do that same thing of like getting those slats and gluing them, and you can do massive beams.
Yeah,
like
you could probably make some pretty
you can do everything,
solid
anything.
shit with that.
Super. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've seen like even like with bamboo, you can make like clothing. I've seen that at the restaurant. We use that little bamboo whisk. I know you've said you love that thing. Yeah, I mean it's a revolutionary.
No,
type
it's super.
of,
China exports about. I keep doing this weird smacking thing with my mouth. Sorry on the mic.
It's a sound effect. Why not?
But but it's 6 times the stencil strength as wood, and they say that it's even stronger than steel in like it's when you go by its fibers and when it'll break and things like that. So in the right way, the indigenous people,
like if they like put all the fibers together the right way, it'll be okay. That makes me think of the I forget what the name of it was, but it was like this material that's like 1,000 times stronger than steel, and it's like this clear, like flexible, like super conductive material. I forget the name of it, but kind of bamboo is like that.
Yeah.
But
and then you can do all the charcoal applications with it too. So activated charcoal is a big use in agricultural use. It's a big thing in
healthcare and like I've had activated charcoal toothpaste and like face wash and stuff like that.
And water filters. That's what they do. Like those camping filters. That's got like activated charcoal in there. That pump it through.
Yeah, and I mean, isn't that like if I don't know, say you like
car filters? It's in there.
Isn't it also like the stuff like if you like I don't know overdose or something, you could like eat that and it'll make you puke it up.
Well, it'll absorb it and then it'll make it so you can't take it and you'll shat it out. So.
Oh, okay. So it just like absorbs it, stores it in there, and then you poop.
Yeah,
poop it out. Yeah.
But anyway, so then I also in Brazil right now. And I have for the last 3 or 4 years. I've represented a company called Regent Sea Glider. It's basically a flying boat.
Sea Glider, is that the ones that's like it's like a surfboard and it's got this fin and it like raises out the water?
So this is for like public transportation. So it looks kind of like a plane, and then so it's got wings that come out that kind of like touch the water like with pontoons, and then it has 3 different modes of like traveling. So you got it as a boat, it's like all the way in the water, and then it hits a certain speed and it foils. You know how like those foils, like these heard of those hydrofoils,
like it takes off.
They have surf things where that metal thing's down here and that like puts them up above.
Okay, yeah.
So anyway, it works like that basically, and it puts you up the vessel up out of the water, and then you can hit like 100, 200 miles per hour.
And then you could just start flying.
Yeah, and then it just takes off.
Dude, what the fuck? That is
it
awesome.
Flies basically no higher above the ground than its wingspan. So it's like this height is the highest it goes, and it always stays above water. And what it's doing is it's using this force called the wing and ground effect, where it thrusts down air that then pushes it back up off the ground.
So it's like it's levitating
Yeah.
almost. Oh, dude, that is so sick.
So and then it's got a 220-mile range, and then it goes about 220 miles an hour. Like
So it's like an electric.
yeah, it's all electric.
Okay,
Electric.
sweet. Dude, I would totally buy one of those. That sounds sick, man.
They're kind of they're expensive as hell, obviously.
I mean,
the first ones, but so this one seats 12 people in it, so it's going to be. Used
okay, so it's like a
it's
big.
like a big deal. Yeah,
I was thinking like a.
I wish it was like a
go-kart
personal
go-kart
one, yeah.
size.
That'd be
thing.
super sick, and you could possibly like. I swear, tried to find them. Like, you can get. There's a couple different wing and ground effect vehicles, remote controls that fly and take off like that. I was going to get one for Jude to use on the pond here, but I haven't done it yet. But yeah, they have them. It looks kind of like a boat, and then it's got like wings on it there, and it'll get up and get off on that thing there. Yeah,
Dude.
the Russians did a lot of these cool things with it. I don't have my phone here. I'd show you the thing, but
I mean, that like totally just reminded me of the other day. I was, you know where the tennis court is here. I was chilling at that gazebo right there and just listening to music, contemplating and stuff. And then all of a sudden I see this guy walk out in the little field right there, and he has this big like parachute thing, and I see him carrying this like giant fan, and he
he launched right there.
Yeah, he just like strapped on this fan on his back, put on the parachute, started running, and then just took off and started flying away.
Oh,
With
that's cool.
it was like a jetpack, dude.
That's super cool.
Yeah, I took a video of it, which
Yeah,
like,
I've flown around here in hot air balloon too before.
that's got to
super
be
awesome.
so.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I've seen that there's a skydiving in Hurricane or somewhere around there, and I really want to do it because you could definitely see Zion from above. Because I've done it in Moab twice now,
Really?
and it's like spectacular. But like Zion would be.
Yeah, I'm such a wuss about skydiving. I'm kind of embarrassed about it.
Have you ever done it?
I never have, and I had a chance to go for free when I was with the airline. I had some guy that I gave him a flight to do something, and so as trade, he was going to offer me a free jump over Iguazu Falls. You know Iguazu Falls there?
Where is that?
So Iguazu Falls are basically the two biggest, most like famous waterfalls in the world are Iguazu and Niagara. Niagara Falls in Canada, right there on the border. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
But Iguazu, where is that?
Iguazu, it's right. So it's inward from Paraná. So it's like actually. I'll tell you the best way to describe it is actually it's in an area they call the Three Frontiers, which is Paraguay, Argentina, and Brazil. All have a border right there.
Okay.
So it's like one of the largest drug trafficking borders in the world.
Is it kind of like that's like their like four corners basically? Like it's just all these countries intersect.
Yeah, there's a movie on Netflix called The Three Frontiers, and it's got like these dudes going down there trying to stop the massive narcos.
Yeah, that's got to be like mad drug trafficking territory.
It is. My first time going over there. So they have the Brazil side, and then you can go over to Paraguay, and they have these markets. And in Brazil, they have a lot of import tariffs and taxes and stuff. But basically, anything that's imported is sold in Paraguay at no tariffs and no duties. And so Brazilians will go over there and contraband things and then take it back over.
Like steal stuff, or
not steal stuff, just contraband. Just buy things that are illegal in Brazil, or they are overtaxed, and so like an iPhone you can get in Paraguay for half the price that you can in Brazil.
Okay, and then come back to Brazil and sell it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So throughout Brazil too, they'll have these things called camelo or camelódromo, which basically is just a little outdoor market that has everything from these places in Paraguay.
So like a bunch of like phones,
like cords, battery chargers, like all these e-bike things, like all that shit.
That would otherwise
you don't see those things in regular stores because it's like the price after you import it legally is way
not
too much, and so they
it.
can't. It's like they won't sell enough units, and so they don't even try. But then in the Paraguay ones, they'll bring them in, and then they'll sell them in these non-official markets. And that's where you buy vapes, for example.
Oh, wow.
Vapes are illegal technically by their FDA, their version of the FDA. So if you want the vape, you've got to go to a place that went and bought
A
it in
little
Paraguay.
black market
Yeah,
type
little
of
black
thing.
markets that are everywhere. Yeah, that's what it is. Black market.
And I mean, there's probably a lot of those in the favelas, right?
Yeah, I'm
Or-
certain. Yeah, I mean, probably.
I mean-
Yeah, but like the favelas are what everyone talks about in Brazil. But like, let's say like.
I mean,
In Rio is where you feel their presence, and they're everywhere. São Paulo, you drive past them occasionally, but like let's say where most of the places I go, Balneário Camboriú, like you don't see the favela, you gotta go find it. You know what I mean? Like
okay. It's not
it's
something
not-
you'll just like bump into.
it's not something you're just always surrounded by. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's only in Rio where it's like you can see them because they're like on all the mountains around you, and it's just like literally it's just like, oh look, there's the favela. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's only Rio that's like that, really.
Just because there's so many people.
Just because it's so many people, and well, it's also too. There's an old joke that what is a carioca? Carioca is a person from Rio, right? But what is a carioca? And it's a baiano, so somebody from the Bahia, which is the north up here. So it's a baiano who got tired on his way to São Paulo. Because
Okay.
it's like if you're going
You just, like,
south,
stop.
São Paulo is like their New York City, so people like all try to go there and make money. And
Okay.
lots of times they get stuck in Rio, and you know,
They just, like, never
so it's
get
like
out of there.
So it's
Yeah.
like São Paulo. It's a baiano that got tired.
Okay. Yeah, that's like so with the whole Brazil thing, like you said you went there on a mission, like
Yeah, but I'll tell you something even cooler than that, though. My first time I ever went there, I was...
so you went before the mission?
Yes.
Oh,
So my
okay.
dad was a missionary there in the 50s. And
Okay.
then he went back and was a journalist for 10 years. And then during that time, he had my sister Julie. She was born in Brazil. My brother David and my sister Pam. And then my parents moved back from Brazil. But then my dad, he always prided himself on never going a year without going back to Brazil in like 60 years. So like,
Wow, that's
so
awesome, dude.
When I was born, my dad used to have his job was with the Los Angeles Times, or at the time when I was born, it was with the UPI, which is the United Press International, which was the largest news syndicated organization, along with AP up until like the 90s or something. And no, when they went bankrupt, actually, around 1990. And that was when my dad left and went to Los Angeles Times. So he worked for the Los Angeles Times there. But when I was born, he worked, he was actually the president of a group called the Partners of the Americas, where they set up basketball exchange programs and did things like delivered vaccines to people in Bolivia, smallpox vaccines. My dad went to Howard Hughes in Las Vegas and got a free plane to go and take vaccines to people in Bolivia.
What?
And
That's
so anyway, but my dad, so the summer I was born, we had plans to go, and I was a week late. But so the day I was born, they had to take a picture of me for my passport because we had a trip planned with Magic Johnson's 1979 national championship team. Because the summer of '78, Magic Johnson was on the team. It was his senior year. Judd Heathcote was his coach, and he was a good friend of my dad's. So we went on a trip with Magic Johnson to Brazil. It was my whole family. And then they had the national championship in '79, which was only 5 months later, in Salt Lake City. And he like called Julie and Pam and said, "Hey, do you guys have tickets to the game?" And they're like, "No." And he goes, "Tell him I got him tickets. I got him tickets. Come here." And so they went, and they were like courtside.
Dude,
So Julie was at the game with Bird versus Magic.
yeah, that's
So that was my first time in Brazil. But then we'd go back about every summer or every other summer.
So when it's like summer here, is it
It's winter there. Yeah.
does it get like snow and stuff, or is it?
So there's parts that it'll snow every once in a while, like in certain interior highland areas. But like on the ocean, on the coast areas, it doesn't really.
It's like California.
Never really snows.
basically.
Yeah, it's like in northern or southern California winter, but that's like in the south, below Sao Paulo. Above Rio, there's no seasons. It's
Yeah,
all
it's like
just
Florida.
kind of hot. It never really ever
Yeah.
changes.
Oh, dude, I am so excited to go to Brazil, man.
No, it's the best. It's really fun. But right now, I'm so irritated by the fighting between Trump and their current president and all these tariffs. It just makes the mixed traveling not as much fun.
Yeah, it's I was just talking about I just did a podcast earlier with, I don't know if you know them, but Loie and Felipe. They have worked here before, and we were talking about how like all the states in America are almost like different countries, except you just don't have to go through these processes to travel between them.
Yeah. But I would agree to a certain point. Like, I was talking about this with my kids on our last road trip. I think, like, let's say Idaho, Arizona, Nevada, and maybe New Mexico. I haven't been much time in New Mexico. There's kind of like a certain country. Like, they're like a country. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's all
like,
kind of like a similar vibe.
Like Oregon and Seattle, they're like a certain country.
Yeah.
You know, like,
it's like some states are kind of combined.
Like Michigan, I've spent some time there, but not that much time there. But
I think like Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota.
Those are kind of like, again, like that's
like
kind of
very similar.
Yeah, very similar food, very similar traditions. You know what I mean? Like very similar
there's just
sports
like
they all like.
It's like there's like regions, but at the same time, in every state, there's like these different laws.
Colorado's in that Utah country. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
but I also feel like Colorado is kind of like I feel like
so in the big cities, you're right. It's like liberal, it's different, but I'm saying like rural's rural, and there's just
it's
Colorado, like Utah, is 90% rural, and the rest is a couple big cities. I mean, what else? You got Fort Collins, you got Denver, and then you got Boulder, yeah, but I'm saying these are all smaller towns. They're not like big places. It's kind of like Salt Lake, but we got Provo, we got so it's a very similar geography. It's a very similar, probably the same similar culinary, meat and potatoes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like that's
pretty much just like how like there's like Southern food, like it's like like Texas, Oklahoma, Alabama.
They're all kind of pretty much the same too. You know what I mean? Like that's a country. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But either way, it's like you don't have to go through these processes to travel.
Yeah.
And I really wish it was like that for like countries too. Like to go to like if I wanted to go to Brazil, like it should be as easy as just buying a plane ticket and you go as long as you got your ID and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't see why we need.
I know. There wasn't a visa until just barely, and now the visa process for Brazil, it's only $90, but it is online with a company from Dubai, and the process sucks, and it's annoying, and you have to, it just sucks, yeah. We had a trip that we were supposed to go to Brazil in June, but we couldn't get my daughter's Brazilian passport renewed in time because we...
Is it harder for like a kid to get them
to take a kid, especially if you're not going with both of the parents. So you got to get like a special thing for you to be able to take them without your ex-wife, you know what I mean? And you have to get them to sign like a series of documents.
Yeah, I mean...
and then also you have to get all of the documents, what they call apostolized, which is like you got to go to a city count. In Salt Lake, I can only go to the Capitol building to get it done.
Already sounds like a pain.
No, it's ridiculous.
Dude.
It's absolutely ridiculous, and it just makes you want to not go. So this is why so many people don't go to Brazil.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've just always been a believer in like we should like all these like made up lines on the map. Like it doesn't mean nothing. Why are we acting like it does?
Yeah, well, what's interesting is like the what I always like to point out there. I heard a Freakonomics podcast about how
shout out Freakonomics
up until 1978 or 79, I think it was when I was born. They didn't monitor the border crossings on the southern border. People just came and left, right?
Wait, like in America?
In America, Mexico, the Mexican border. They didn't monitor it. People just come and go, right? And yes, there is a migration every year of workers to come and work on crops, work on all this kind of stuff. But like 95% or 90% of them all went back every year.
Like back to Mexico?
Back to Mexico or back to their home country. Yeah,
because I mean, most of them are probably just working to get some money to bring back to their family. Yeah, they just wanted to get money and
bring it back and have it go, the dollar go a little bit farther than the peso in their place, right?
They don't want to stay there. They just want to make
And then as soon as they started making it, monitoring it, telling people they couldn't come back and things like that, then people started staying. And then
because it's like you tell somebody not to do something and immediately they're like, I want to do that now. Like at least me... It's like somebody tells me, like, you can't do this. I'm just like, watch me. You tell people you can't come back, you can't stay. People are just naturally going to want to break that rule. It's funny because it's like the more that you try to control people, the less control you have. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, I'm a big believer in just kind of letting things be and, focus on you, control yourself. But a lot of people don't think that way, I guess.
Well, what really irritates me is how basically China, up until about 25 years ago, they couldn't make anything but, rubber dog shit. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then Apple went and invested $50 billion and trained an entire generation of engineers and tech workers, right?
Yeah.
And it's
we're using an Apple computer
it was made
right
in
now.
China. But the thing is they could have been doing that in Latin America. They could have been setting up those factories all over Latin America and training them. I mean, it's like literally, it's like, yes, I'm certain that Asians have a certain propensity for mathematics and engineering, but
yeah, just ask Anthony.
You can train, you can train people on anything, and I think there's going to be a certain percentage of people that are somewhat gifted, and I could argue, and would argue, that the American, like Amazonian and like the Southern American Indians are Asian descent. Like we know that they are, so they kind of got that DNA, dude.
Yeah,
they're Asians, dude. Like if you see people in the Amazon, they look like people from Indonesia.
And that's the thing too, is like when you have, like back home in Michigan, like there was like a decent amount of those, like they were just like white buses full of people from Mexico, just like they'd ride along, find work, and it's like I've been around a lot of immigrants, like especially from South America or like Mexico or whatever, and they just have this like insane drive to just work and like they don't complain about it or anything, and like I don't know, it's super cool. So like and like the with the Asian stereotype too of the perfecting everything basically, like I can see the connection, like
What's interesting is when you meet Japanese Brazilians or
Japas,
Japas, because they've got more Japanese in Brazil than anywhere outside Japan.
Yeah, I've actually read a lot about how like Brazil and Japan are like kind of tied together.
Very much so. Yeah, in fact, the entirety of Tokyo and all of Japan was rebuilt after World War II with Brazilian steel and Brazilian iron ore that they would send to Japan. Japan would refine the iron ore and then send it back to Brazil and sell it to them as steel. But then also obviously build their own skyracks.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Genius move.
Super genius. Yeah.
I remember, because I know the word obrigado is thank you, and then arigato in Japanese is
derived from it,
thank you as well. So
but it came from that, right? Like
it
was the Portuguese Catholics that took that over there. There was like a period in time when the Portuguese really dominated Japan. It was crazy, but they were doing it all under like the Christianity guys and
kind of like Crusaders.
But it was so baffling. There was a show on Netflix or something like that about not Last Samurai, but something about samurais and things like this, and it had these Portuguese like priests wearing these doilies around their necks, like telling like shoguns what to do, dude. And it was like, what? Like I would have assumed those shoguns would have just chopped their head off. You know what I mean? Like, and it was just funny. They were like bossing around shoguns.
Imagine that, dude. Like history is weird, dude. It's weird.
Yeah, but anyway, so arigato came from that. Like, it's so funny.
It's kind of funny because in my hometown, Muskegon, 231 represent. I remember there's this road, Laketon, and then like there's like a bank right there, and you could turn right, and right there's a sign that says like Sister City is some city in Japan or something, and I forget what sister cities are, but.
No, I know what it is. I've been a part of kind of putting them together and stuff. And it's just like you...
Well, how do you get to be a part of putting that together? What?
Because Salt Lake City and Paraná and Curitiba were setting it up.
Where are those cities?
So Salt Lake City, Salt Lake City.
Yeah, that's...
And then Curitiba is it's in the state of Paraná, which is the state just below São Paulo. And it's like...
in Brazil?
Yeah. It's like a 4 or 5 hour drive to there. So
it's really crazy because I have heard that Brazilians are like the second most populous like people in Utah, which is very interesting. Or
I don't know
or
if they-
Portuguese is the second most spoken language, or something.
Yeah,
Like
I don't know.
that.
I know my dad was the honorary Brazilian consulate in Utah, and he used to always say there was 30,000 Brazilians. But in the most recent consensus I read, the most populous minority, let's say, is Venezuelans, actually.
Yeah, I have met a lot of Venezuelans out here too.
Yeah.
It's so interesting though because like Utah is like it's almost like because I would say it's more, I don't know, I'm not politically illiterate or like literate at all, like,
Yeah.
but I'd say it's more like Republican or whatever.
No, it certainly is. But the
It's-
reason
it's
on the
more of a-
immigration thing, Utah has always been a very pro-immigration and friendly immigration because
Do you
it's
think
usually Mormons coming in.
Yeah, I was just gonna
So-
say, you think that's because
Yeah.
it's the Mormon?
Yeah, it's the Mormons, and it's
because y'all go on.
Yeah, we go out
You're
on missions.
Mormon,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm Mormon. Yeah. I mean, I don't go to church every Sunday, but to
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
it's like a culture thing, you know.
Yeah.
So I say I'm culturally Mormon, but I'm not necessarily religiously Mormon.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you need to go to church to,
Yeah.
feel the oneness with
Yeah.
with God or whatever.
Yeah.
But
No, I always say that like the moment I realized I didn't have to go to church, was the moment I realized that like nature and just the world is God's temple. It's not into It's not
Exactly.
in a thing. There's all the stories about Jesus. He was in the synagogue in a church one time, and he called them all a bunch of hypocrites for counting money and threw their tables over. You know what I mean? So I always say too that like anybody wants to go to a church, I tell them I think the Mormons is probably the best one for them. You know what I mean? Because they do. It's like being a part of it's like being able to get baptized a Jew. Like you can't really do that. You can convert to Judaism, it takes years. Mormons, it takes like a couple weeks, and then all of a sudden you're in their cool kids club.
yeah.
And they'll hook you up. They'll give you, take care of you.
Yeah, a couple things I've noticed about Mormons because like back in Michigan, we don't really
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have
Yeah.
Mormons for real. Like we have like Jehovah's Witness, and I haven't living up here, I wouldn't see that because we're
There's some Utah. It's got again because of the Mormon thing. Mormons are very religiously tolerant in that sense. Like they have like every kind of religion in Utah. You can find
Oh yeah.
churches for everything.
I mean, in St. George, I've seen like Buddhist temples
Yeah.
and the LDS.
Yeah, I mean
like,
in Spanish Fork, which is like totally this weird place, they've got a Hare Krishna like Hindu temple where they have
hey,
like festival of colors.
it's funny because I used to get these drinks online. I had a minute where I was like, I wasn't drinking for a minute, and I started getting these drinks called Bodhi Bubbles. Shout out to Bodhi Bubbles, and they were from Spanish Fork, and it's like a sparkling drink, and it's got I don't know if you ever heard of canna. It has canna, lion's mane, ashwagandha,
Lion's mane,
like a bunch of different things, holy basil or something. But yeah, it was from there, and it had like a Buddhist like image on the can. So yeah, there's a cool little connection, I guess.
For sure. Yeah.
So, have you been to like other countries as well?
Yeah. No, my dad, growing up, I traveled a lot with my parents, and so I always had a culture of travel. So, yeah, I've been to like probably 30 countries now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
But Brazil's kind of like my when I always
it's
go
like
back
your
to.
second home,
Yeah.
kind of. See, I've been to one country, and it's the one we're in right now.
Okay.
And the first country I'm gonna go to is gonna be Brazil for sure,
It's a good one.
because that's I know more Portuguese than I know of any other language besides English. So
Yeah,
it's
and
like,
Brazilians and in Brazil, they are very, very complimentary and very supportive of people learning their language. You know what I mean?
dude, it's literally like sometimes like somebody will come to the restaurant and they're from Brazil, and I'll like say it's like a couple and they like are trying to order, and they'll start talking to each other in Portuguese. I'll pick up on that and I'll be like, "Oi, amigo," and immediately they're just like, "Oh, você fala Portuguese," and like. Like as soon as you show that like you have some type of interest in, their culture and language and everything, it's like you're best friends. If I was working like in Brazil and those same people came up to me and their house is right down the street and I was like, I'm a gringo and I just came there and then like I'm showing them like, "Oye, amigo," and like they see, oh, this gringo is trying to learn. Like I'm gonna end up at their house having a churrasco, a barbecue.
Yeah.
And I've totally loved diving into the Brazilian culture.
Yeah. But what's fun too is to not even be. Because the best part about Brazil is the Brazilians, they would say, and it's true. But the best part of like Amsterdam is being with Brazilians too. If you like the best, I've been to Amsterdam like a handful of times, and my best time ever was with a Brazilian dude.
Dude!
I had a friend of mine. We went to lunch in Brazil. I was in that city, Curitiba, I mentioned. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to Amsterdam. I went to go give a speech about business in Brazil and stuff in Holland. He's like, oh, I got a good friend there named Igor. You should hit him up. And I'm like, okay, sure thing. And so I went and gave my speech, and I came back, and I had one night in Amsterdam, and I said, hey Igor, Tonino told me to hit you up. I'm here in town. Do you want to come and hang out, and let's do something? He's like, yeah, meet me at this Indonesian restaurant. I'm like, okay, great. So we go there. Awesome Indonesian food. Like, I've been in Amsterdam a handful of times, like I said, and I've always kind of stuck to, like, the street vendors and stuff like this, but this because I just thought everything else was going to be too expensive or whatever. But this guy took me to his place. It was perfect, well priced. We go to his apartment. We hang out there for a second, but we went there to go get some resources, and so he came out with my favorite favors for the event, party favors, and we went to this club in Amsterdam that we had to take like a ferry boat to get to, and he had a bike for me to ride, so we were riding bikes, and we get to this club. The club was called Shelter, and it was inside of a bomb shelter from World War II.
Oh shit, that sounds dope.
Yeah, it was like there was this weird. It was building on like an island. We had to take, like I said, a ferry boat to get to it. We get there, and like they had this big building there. And then the ground just opens up, and that's how you get into this shelter thing. And it's like when it's closed, it's just a big gold
Is it
cylinder.
like the doors are kind of like those tornado shelters?
Yeah.
Like they open up like...
No. This is like it's like a safe door. Imagine like a big safe door.
But it opens.
It
like
opens from the floor,
ground
up, pops up,
and then
you
there's
go
like
into
stairs.
The whole, stairs down.
Okay, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah, and then we got there, and there was this DJ playing who was actually from Michigan, your home state. He's from Detroit. His name was Mr. Fingers, and apparently,
shout out Mr. Fingers.
Yeah, apparently Mr. Fingers is one of the like pioneers of deep house music in like the warehouses of there. And so anyway, he just played, crushed it. But they had this speaker system that was so crazy. I've never seen anything like it, where you could like have a conversation like in front of it without it, ruining the conversation.
Like it's just not too loud.
No, it was very loud. You were feeling the bass, but you were still like conversation could pass without. I don't know.
How do you even do that?
I have no
dude?
idea. It was a very weird thing. It was sponsored by Red Bull, this speaker. I just remember it was like considered one of like the most expensive sound systems you could have.
Oh man, I bet. Dude.
Yeah, but the crazy cool thing about it too is there was this. So the bathrooms were like big enough for like 2 or 3 people to go there and do whatever they needed to do. Like, and they were clean as a whistle all night long. And the club like ended at sunrise, and we like kind of stumble out of there. And then we're having to ride back home to his house through the streets of Amsterdam, and they're having like a marathon there. And so all these
like
roads,
a running
marathon. And so like these roads are like blocked off from cars and shit. We're riding the bike, and we're scared to death that people are gonna be running through there. And it was just riding, in the morning dawn, doing the bike ride of Shane back home. And it was, I kept thinking we were gonna get arrested or something, but we never did. But anyway, so then, we go back to his place. Igor, I stayed at his place, and then I had to get to the the airport and fly out. But it was like that one night in Amsterdam was by far better than any of the 5 trips I've had there prior, where I spent 4 or 5 days a week there. Because it's so hard to get out of like tourist trap like things. And this place was something where, again, it was all people locally, but it was just cool to see different people dancing crazy.
Yeah.
And everybody was dancing like in a different way. But Amsterdam is where my family's from. That's my favorite place in Europe. I love that.
And you said you were with Brazilians.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
dude, just
Yeah. No, I've got a similar story for New York. I got a similar story for a few other places. Where,
like all with Brazilians.
Again, yeah, all with Brazilians.
Yeah.
Like I've done them before. Like I did them multiple times, and then the one time I did it with Brazilians, it was by far better than any other one.
Dude, it's yeah, Brazilians know how to get down, and they know how to, like, if you listen, I mean, their music like is just so, just enjoy life, like like let's celebrate today because today's happening, and like
They celebrate everything. That's what my dad said.
Yeah, I think after I met a few Brazilians, my life got exponentially better.
Yeah.
And have you ever been to a carnival?
Yeah, many times.
Is it? I mean, what is that?
I kind of.
like?
I mean, I'm too old probably, but you're young, so you probably like it. But it's insane. It's super packed everywhere. I mean, and what's cool about it though is that there's a different carnival experience for like almost every city. Rio's got its own very distinct
so it's like a
carnival.
whole like country,
the entire
like,
country does it. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, Rio's got their tradition of things they do. São Paulo has their tradition of things they do. The Bahia has their tradition of things they do. I am kind of embarrassed to say that I have only seen São Paulo's and Santa Catarina's Balneário Camboriú, because Balneário Camboriú is where Fernando's from, and it's considered, they call it the Dubai of Brazil, and it's literally like there's just, the women are the most beautiful things you've ever seen. The clubs are all like insane big, and
it's just like
there's like
best of the best of
the best.
everything.
And so I was at the airline Azul when it was my first carnival in Brazil, and I was kind of debating what should I do. And this guy I worked with said, well, I'll tell you what, like, you should see once in your life the carnival of Rio and Salvador, but every other one you should go to Camboriú. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going to Camboriú. And so we rented a VW bus, and we drove down, myself and 6 American buddies and one Baiano, a guy from the Bahia, that place I told you about, and had a great trip. Went down there, and I became obsessed with that place. And then I had an apartment down there, and then my daughter was raised there, and so like I had great carnivals in that city, like with my daughter and stuff. I mean, going out and dancing in the street with everybody and all that kind of stuff. So, but it's everywhere is a little bit different. So that's what's so cool about it. But so it's something you definitely should do. But everything is, let's just put it this way, everything is much more expensive everywhere.
Yeah.
Like people that I would usually
I mean,
stay with,
they're going bank
when I go
on
down
that
there,
shit.
they even bounce out of their town sometimes to then make money on rentals.
Yeah. I mean, you can't blame people.
Yeah.
I mean,
But you know what's really fun is to travel during Carnival in like Europe, because all the a bunch of cool Brazilians are traveling.
yeah, they're
They
like,
leave
I want
Brazil.
to get out of
They
here.
leave there for it. So I've got a cool story of meeting this like super cute, sexy girl when I was in Paris once in a hostel there, and spending a night smoking cigarettes and flirting with her and talking
Ain't
to her.
nothing better than that.
Yeah, no, she was a sweetheart.
So, like, what is Carnival celebrating?
It's celebrating the beginning of Lent.
Like,
Within the Catholic faith, Lent, you're not familiar with this. So for like a
it's
week,
you can't eat certain
things. You pick one thing that's like your vice, and you're supposed to abstain for a month.
so it's like it's staying away from temptation, basically.
Right, yeah. So you
Okay.
pick something that is like, your thing. But then, so it is supposed to be like the, kind of relieving of your sins and doing whatever that you feel like doing before this happens. And then whatever you do there will wipe out whatever you did.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
It's almost like similar to buying your way into heaven type
it's
of
like
thing.
when I was there's a thing the Catholics used to do called buying an indulgence, which meant you could go in and like pay the priest and then go and fuck a prostitute, and you were buying the freedom to sin. You know what I mean? Basically.
You know what's funny? When you said that, I just looked up and I saw that sign over there that says indulge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so it's a Catholic thing, carnival.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%. Yep.
Wow. Okay. I thought it was just.
I mean, and they do it. Where it originated actually is in Venice, I think. In
Italy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they do it. It's carnival. They still do it in Venice, and they do it in New Orleans. They have a Mardi Gras.
It's not,
Mardi Gras is it? Mardi Gras is carnival.
Okay, so yeah, because I always thought the vibe of Mardi Gras and Carnival were
very similar. Uh-huh.
Okay, yeah, I feel like that's something that
they wear like the masks, and shit like that. They wear
the bead necklaces and stuff.
And also too, what they do in Carnival for in Brazil a lot too is it's like they don't have they don't have Halloween. I mean, like they'll have Halloween parties on October 31st, and people dress up, but it's like one bar in the town will do that, right?
Okay.
But during Carnival, like that's part of the thing too, is everybody dresses in costumes and shit.
Okay, so it's like
the
ultimate celebration,
right? Yeah. So you dressed in like costumes and things. So like the first time I took acid was at a carnival party in Brazil.
Oh boy!
That trip with the VW bus. And I was at this big club called Dreams, where you're up on this mountain peak and you're like the ocean's all surrounding you and everything like that. And we were there, and I was with my buddies from college, and I said, "Who's gonna try with me?" And so I got 3 of them convinced of it. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go buy 4 tabs. So I'm like, looking around, I'm like, okay, who's gonna have this? And all of a sudden, I see this guy dressed like a devil with horns, and I'm like, it's gonna be that guy. And so I went up to him, and I was like, hey man, do you have any LSD acid? And he goes, how much do you want? I'm like, 4 tabs. He's like, no problem. And he sits there and he's like, kind of gives a hand signal, and all of a sudden this super sexy girl comes over dressed like an angel, and she pulls it out of her bra and gives it to us, and then we took it.
I mean, that right there sets the tone for the whole thing, dude.
Yeah, it was funny first experience for them. But I always liked to do things like that for the first time. Like the first time I took mushrooms was in Amsterdam, and
perfect place for it, dude.
And I had gone to Amsterdam a few months prior or a year prior, and I did not do the mushrooms. I was a little freaked out. I just ate space cake and smoked some grass.
What is space cake?
Space cake is just weed cake.
Like an edible?
Like an edible, yeah.
Okay.
It's just brownies, that kind of stuff. And so I bought, but it was funny. So on that trip, I bought like first space cake and I ate it. I was like, wow. And I was still kind of like practicing Mormon, had a very Mormon girlfriend. And so but I took it and I was hanging out with my family, and my brother's like, oh, you're laughing like a little girl. What are you doing? And then I was like, then they left Holland, and I was going to continue on and backpack up through Prague and Vienna, Austria, and Switzerland, and then Italy, Florence, and then Rome. And so I went and got a whole one of these cakes, and actually I bought 2 full cakes, and I sent one home to Utah in the mail.
You're like, I need to save this for later. This is an investment.
And so I sent it to my buddies, and I sent that home, and then I bought another full cake and took it with me for that whole tour of Europe. And every morning I'd wake up and eat one of these cakes, and they were potent too. And I'd eat the cake, and iPods just came out, and then I'd put on an iPod and I'd rent a bike. They could rent bikes all over Europe.
Dude, that sounds
I would
amazing.
Just rally through the cobble streets of whatever European city I was in and listen to my iPod. Before that, I was carrying around a folder loose sleeve that weighed 20 pounds full of CDs, and so I felt like it was freedom.
I mean, that's an upgrade. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just being high as fuck for that whole thing.
No, the whole thing,
you probably felt like a king.
I
dude.
did, and I wasn't even smoking that much at the time, so it's like I was really getting like just ripped off this shit. And one time, when I got to Prague, I went in, dropped my stuff. I ate my space cake and whatever, and I leave, and I'm like, when I was trying to get home, I was like, where the fuck did I stay? Like, I don't remember anything about this place. And like, and the hostel I was in was like a place where like I got off the train station and they were like, have a sign. So I went with them and we get there and it was like, this is before Airbnb or anything like that. And like, it was like just a door without a hostel, nothing written there.
No sign or
no
nothing.
No sign, nothing. And it was just like this house. I mean, I was supposed to be in there. And like, I literally spent 2 hours walking the streets looking for it, like so tired, and spent like $300 on my roaming plan because I kept calling people, being like, I can't find my hostel. What am I going to do, man? Kept calling my friends and shit. And then I eventually found it. No idea how, because it's like, literally, it was just like a white door amongst 10,000 white doors.
It looks just like a house.
It was crazy, yeah. And so, anyway, so I had that. But anyway, then I went, but when I was in Prague, I met these dudes that went to UCLA, had just graduated from UCLA, and they had taken mushrooms and went to the Van Gogh Museum in Holland.
Oh,
in Amsterdam.
Wait, like
in Amsterdam.
The actual like Van Gogh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so they said to me, "You didn't do that?" I'm like, "No." And they're like, "You have to." And so I went back like less than a year later with my buddies, and we're like, "We're doing mushrooms. We're going to the Van Gogh Museum." And
dude.
so that was the first time I took mushrooms. Was there? It was like 27, I think, or something like that, 28. And so we took mushrooms, and then, but we did, so we did Van Gogh, and then worst thing we did, and I do not recommend this, we went to the Anne Frank house.
Oh boy, yeah, that probably brought the vibes down a little
I was
bit.
with a guy who kind of looks like you a little bit, and he was from Vegas.
Did you have like long hair back in the day?
I didn't really have long hair ever. Recently I had some for a little bit. This guy had long hair, just like you, and he had kind of a beard.
Okay, a little hippie.
And this dude, and this guy was a dude from Vegas, but he was there, and there was this part we were in the museum, and I look over at him, and he was kind of like, he was tripping balls, like rubbing the back of his neck. And
kind of having a bad time.
Yeah, and because it was this scene where the reason why is because we were watching on this big screen of Germans like dumping just dead bodies into holes.
I mean, you were just at the Van Gogh Museum, and now you're just seeing
and
this.
And now we're seeing that. And so anyway, my buddy was tripping out, and I just burst out laughing at his reaction to it. And everybody looked at me like I was the worst human being. Like,
you're just laughing at
I
think you're laughing at the bodies getting buried and shit.
It was bad, dude. It was bad.
I actually had an experience with my ex-girlfriend. We weren't dating at the time, but we went out to Chicago, and there was this like Van Gogh museum, but it was all like light shows, and so they'd project the art and like animate it and stuff. And we took some mushrooms before, and it was a magical experience. Yeah. It was amazing.
No, the museum there's plenty of plant paintings that make it look like there's a tornado. Yeah. Motion is just happening. It's crazy.
To imagine going from that to like World War II shit, like like the most tragic stuff in history.
No, it was horrible.
Yeah,
but the other thing that I was I'll never forget too is being on that intense dose of mushrooms, and then just being so like irritated and pissed off at Germans being there. Like, you motherfuckers, you guys have got a lot of nerve to be here. Yeah. I hope you're proud of yourselves.
Yeah. No, yeah.
I feel that way too when I was at Pearl Harbor. There's tons of Japanese tourists, and I'm just like, really? Yeah. Had to be here to rub it in?
Yeah, it's I mean, it's pretty ironic.
I know, but it's like how I will feel if I ever go to Hiroshima or anywhere that America has like nuked. I'm like, sorry guys.
Yeah, it's just like, you'll be having the time of your life, but everybody's like, you fucked us, dude.
Wow. Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Like, what's your experience with the Ponderosa? Like, what's I don't know. Have you had any just like crazy, or not even crazy, but like just like super big experiences here? Like, when you were growing up, did you were you here all the time?
Yeah.
And we
were. I mean, it's tough to say. Oh, I don't know. Big experiences to me now are not that big, but when I was a kid, they were big. You know.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd steal my cousin's motorcycle and take it up Pine Knoll and have it break down on me, and then I'd push it off into the weeds so I wouldn't get caught. You know, just things like that. You know, like at the time, it felt like it was a big deal. It was my first Grand Theft Auto. You know?
Yeah.
Or like, I mean, yeah, it was just really awesome. We were, I had tons of cousins on my other side there, my mom's side, so we would just, be here making huts, doing crazy things, all the time. But or what we would do too is like back then, they didn't have like all these park boundaries really. In stone. Like so Jolly loose. Gulch, for example,
like that little gate there.
Yeah, that gate was not there. So we would ride our 4-wheelers into the park, and we would go all the way up the East Rim Trail on our 4-wheelers.
All the way, yeah. But so, like, would you say your experience growing up was like, I don't know, like what do you think that is? Because, I mean, you grew up, like, coming out to play, like, this place, and your family is, like, pretty well off. How do you think that has, like, shaped you as a person, like, compared to, say, I don't know, somebody that just grew up, like, not like, set up, but not like not set up. You know,
well, in my family's situation is I'm like the black sheep, and so there's always been.
I was saying this earlier.
There's always been like some shunning going on, if you will, and also it's also too. It's like my dad. He was a journalist and then later a executive with Los Angeles Times, but he still he. Made a couple $100,000 a year, enough to, live decently, but it wasn't like we were, super wealthy. My brothers are who have gotten, super wealthy, but they are 10 and 20 years older than me. So let's say
they got some experience.
Yeah.
So
I got to see that and all that stuff. So that's what it's impacted is like, or this resort, for example. So my brothers built this up, they started building this up when I was about 15. My family had it in my mom's side, and they bought it from the rest of them. And so, I saw this place grow from, nothing to being this massive resort.
You were there at the seed.
Yeah, and then I've seen my brother start airlines. I've been a part of that. And so it creates I think it's a blessing and a curse, though. It's like I oftentimes sit and, see you guys over there at the restaurant. Working, you guys are working hard, but it's still a simple work. It's still a simple. You're not stressed out about
you
closing
don't have
deals and the rates go up or whatever. Like, or you're not stressed out about tariffs between Brazil and the U.S.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And
you get the same paycheck.
Yeah,
you
so
get
I feel like I've been robbed of a simple life. But at the same token, I can't imagine being happy in any other type of a situation, but I wish I could enjoy my more simplicity of life instead of always feeling like I have to do something grandiose or big or.
That's because you were surrounded by people that were doing like big things. I mean, starting an airline is not some, something.
And starting 5 of them.
I mean that's, that sets the bar a little bit higher, and I can see how it could be. You feel like you have to live up to those standards.
Yeah. It's like everything. Blessing and a curse. Everything you have is sort of a blessing and a curse.
Everything is everything. Mm-hmm. Like there's no, like, good
there's no free
bad.
rides. Everything that is an advantage, you have to pay the price somehow. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
Whether it be a guilty conscience, too, of just, like, being like, what the fuck is my problem? Why can't I have, the ease at making millions that people around me have, and I know I'm not any less smart than them. It's just that there's a crapshoot that happens when you're dealing with other people, and it's like when you're trying to start companies, when you're trying to do things, especially without a grandiose budget, then you are susceptible to having people fail you. You know what I mean? And not do their part in what is needed for something to be successful. And so
that's even with this podcast. Like, there's been a few people that I've wanted to do interviews with, and like I am fully set, ready to go, and then they say like, oh, I can't do it this day.
Yeah.
Although for the last 2 weeks they've been saying that they could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my thing, is I usually just get depressed and pissed off about the fact that I can't get people to do what I want them to do.
No, yeah. I
need them to do for a project or a idea to work out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but there's also like you have to come to a point where it's just like, you realize that you can only do what you can do, and you're not in control of other people. Like, I don't know, like there's been a couple, interviews that I wanted to do that fell through, and like I could sit there and be like, oh dude, this sucks, man.
Can you pause
like,
real quick? I'll get some apple juice out of the car. Can you pause for 1 second?
Yeah,
Okay,
we can.
sorry.
All right, guys, sorry we just paused for a second, but
Yeah, it's right now we're here at the Pondy. It's
it's 2 a.m.
2 a.m.
right now.
So
But
we're gonna saw it off so we can get to work in the morning.
Yeah, we both got some busy schedules, but it's been a pleasure having you on, Mark. This has been a great episode, and I'd love to have you on again sometime.
There's a lot more to do. A lot more to talk about.
Definitely, for all the listeners, if you guys are looking for, buying a house near Zion, I'll drop the link for
Mark's Zion listings.
Mark Zion's listings. I'll drop the link in the description of this. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope y'all enjoyed listening to this as much as we enjoyed speaking this. And until next time, have a good time. Peace.
Peace.